We might not face the same dangers of 1963, but the fierce urgency of now remains. We may never duplicate the swelling crowds and dazzling procession of that day so long ago. No one can match King's brilliance, but the same flame that lit the heart of all who are willing to take a first step for justice, I know that flame remains.
In another day and another time, there were brave and courageous young people who followed the teaching of Gandhi, the teaching of Martin Luther King Jr., and they literally put their bodies on the line. So when I was beaten and left bloody and unconscious, when I thought I saw death, I was going to die, I never turned to hate. The reason we wanted to write this book is to tell another generation of young people, you too can do something. You too can be leaders. You too can change things. And we have this unbelievable artist named Nate Powell who brought the word alive. And you can almost feel and touch and smell the action in this little book called March. On the morning of February 27, 1960, we gathered to hear Will Campbell, a white minister who had been run out of Oxford, Mississippi, for playing ping pong with a black man. The day before, we got word from the Nashville chief of police that anyone involved in further protests would be arrested. There were some rumors of playing attack by young whites, which the police did not intend to stop. Campbell said, if you attempt to sit in, the business community, the local officials, and the authority all pull back. They will let the police and the rough element in the white community come into the stores and beat you. But it is your decision. We knew we couldn't let the threat of violence stop us. My group targeted Woodward. A man said, go home. Another man said, go home. And another man said, what's the matter? You chicken? No sooner did we take our seats at the upstairs counter, then some young man began attacking the group downstairs. We immediately went down to join our brothers and sisters. Violence does beget violence, but the opposite is just as true. Fury spinning itself petty pretty quickly when there's no fury facing it. The beatings subsided. Squirting mustard on a man's head, stomping on people. The police conspicuously absent while we were beaten arrived quickly after the mob wore themselves out. If you do not move from your seats and leave this establishment, you will be placed under arrest. I was not afraid, and placing you under arrest, I felt free, liberated like I had crossed over. We wanted to change America, to make it something different, something better. There were so many of us to arrest. And as they drove us off to jail, we filled every paddy wagon the police had in Nashville. We started singing, we shall overcome someday. February 27, 1960 was my first arrest, the first of many. We were jubilant as we filled the jail cell, and we sang, we shall be free.
Everyone who realizes what those glorious patriots knew on that day, that change does not come from Washington, but to Washington. The change has always been built on our willingness, we, the people, to take on the mantle of citizenship. You are marching. And that's the lesson of our past. That's the promise of tomorrow. That in the face of impossible odds, people who love their country can change.